Hey guys, Dylan here, and today we are doing another episode of Pinkbot. Today we have Celeste on, and they're going to be talking about their comic Sonic Legacy.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Glad to be here.
So, let me start with by saying that if you guys watched my channel a long time ago, you know that we had issues. Well, I don't really hold grudges. I have no issues against Celeste, so just know this is all in good faith. I think more people should be like that, where they're willing to just drop shit and stop being petty. But just know I'm not doing anything nefarious here for the few people who are still worried.
Oh no, well, like you said, I don't have any kind of grudges here. Everything that went down last year was just stupid and asinine.
Yeah, that's just the internet, though. If we move past it, then it's fine. I'm always willing to
No,
move past it with
you're not
people.
allowed to have character growth on the internet. Ugh.
But anyway, on to the comic. I guess I would say what really inspired you to do the comic to begin with? Like, what started the spark of inspiration?
Uh, so with that, because I'm one of the admins of Sonic Paradox, there were some different ideas that were going around for animations at the time to kind of branch out from just doing all the little comedy skits. And we had a few ideas of why don't we do something like a slice of life series on there? Like get a kind of a world built up and then just do some animations that are kind of more Sonic centric about the world and not necessarily Sonic run into wall, get hurt, haha. After a while, with a few different writers on there, it started diverging from that into more of a sitcom thing. There were a couple of internal struggles with a couple of the writers who had full pilot scripts ready to go that I still have. And then when we were ready to go, it's like, no, actually, I think all this should be changed. And then just everyone kind of up and left it. I sat there like, well, I like all these ideas I had for the world building, so I want to do something with them. And I thought, well, it keeps branding itself as an animation community, but there's all these talented artists in there who are just posting art and all that. I'm like, why don't we just do a non-animation thing? Like, well, if we get a comic going, because this is around the time where Archie had ended. And so it was right around when IDW was first being announced as well.
If I'm
So
not
we like,
mistaken, this is like right after the Sonic Forces promotional comics came out.
no, this is probably around the same time period, yeah. Because when I first made the channel in the Sonic Paradox Discord, it was actually on April 1st, 2018. And that's where I'm like, all right, here's all the ideas that I gathered from the other project. Let's see if we could refine them even further and just kind of get a basic world premise laid out first. And then after that, started getting a few people from like a couple IDW groups on Facebook and such. That's where I met Sea Salt back when he was still one of the writers here. And we just started building a little bit of a comic verse, and it's been evolving ever since with all the new people on board.
Okay, so now since we know the origins of the comic, what made you decide to put Tempest in Sonic 1 over introducing Tails or just having Sonic alone?
Um, I remembered earlier on, I don't remember if it was pre-boot or post-boot in the Archie comics where it was rehashing all the Sonic 1 stuff, and it
Uh,
was just,
it was both actually. Like, they rehash Sonic 1 several different times,
oh,
and
geez.
it's really confusing because they did it in Sonic X, the comic. They did it in Archie twice. So it's a giant fucking mess, but I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Sonic Genesis, which happened right during the Genesis wave before Sally got turned into a robot.
But the one I was looking at, it might have been post-boot because it was using a classic Eggman design. But it was just Sonic, just nonstop talking the whole time and everything. I'm like, you know what? I kind of wanted someone to bounce Benner off, but I also wanted to keep characters coming in around the time when they're supposed to, like game centric. So it wasn't me who created Tempest or anything like that. In fact, one of the people who was around for the beginning, he actually joked around, said, add a dolphin. And this was before I actually read Post Boot or even knew about the whole time split in Archie. I'm like, hey, that's something I don't really see. And so the others just, started adding to it. So, like, it never was really my idea, hey, let's add a dolphin chick or anything.
Oh. That's weird. I always figured that you were a fan of Archie because there were dolphins in Archie, and they do kind of look like Tempest.
See, I grew up with the earlier Archie stuff. Like the first comic issue I had was the Sonic First, I think. That was like a mini compilation of some of the first issues. And then
Yeah.
I went cold turkey, didn't have anything for like, I don't know, like 10 sour years. I was back in high school and I would go to like Barnes and Noble all the time, God rest its soul. And they would have like the Archie comics there. I'm like, okay, you know what? I remember having that first one. I'm going to start buying them again. And then once Barnes and Noble closed down, I wasn't real. It's not Barnes and Noble, Borders. Barnes and
Oh,
Noble
okay.
still exists. Borders is the one I
Because I'm
liked.
like, I think Barnes and Nobles is dying, but I don't think it's dead yet.
Yeah, but then I went like for another break after that, and then I don't know, when I was with my ex and everything, and we would go to the Barnes and Nobles close to the house, they still had more Archie, but this was post-boot continuity. I'm like, oh, okay, they're covering Unleashed now. I didn't even know that there was a split.
Yeah, it's a big fucking mess. Basically, when the whole Ken Bender shit went down, they had an option to either do a full reboot and reset everything, or do a kind of reboot and get rid of all the Ken characters. So
Yeah,
they did that, and they got rid of all of Ken and other people's characters, and then they kind of kept things the same, but because they didn't have any direction for the story, they just went with fuck it, we'll do the games.
yeah, I had to do a lot of research after that revelation came to me because I thought, man, I am behind on everything. So that was a lot of cram reading, wiki diving, and just going back and ultimately rereading all the issues, which I'm still working on doing.
The best, if you have to do it, the best way to get back into Archie is with the Mobius encyclopedia. Like, they released an Archie encyclopedia, and that's probably the best resource, because that's what most of the wikis source from, is the encyclopedia that they made.
Makes sense, yeah. I still ultimately want to read through them all that way, just like have the full experience there, but sometimes I could only take so much preboot at a time.
Well, it's not even just that. It's like, to read through all of them, you either have to get the Archie re-releases, which is what I'm starting to do. I'm starting to get all the compilation re-releases. I think it's called Archie Archives. You can either get that, where they put the specials and the fucking spin-off comics in, or you have to go to fan websites where they tell you the order every comic should be written, and then you have to go out and look for the mainline issues, the spin-off issues, and the super specials, which all like intertwine with each other. And then when you get to Universe, it gets even stupider.
Yeah, because I haven't actually read any of the Universe issues yet. Wasn't Universe basically just all the stuff going on, like just from different characters' perspectives?
Yes, and I was actually going to ask you if you guys had any intentions of doing that at some point with Legacy later on, because I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of different focuses.
Actually, we already started. It's kind of a silly name because it's focusing on the role instead of characters, so it's called Mobius Legacy. But we actually have the first issue released, which is kind of a prequel to how everything's set up. It was Eggman's backstory for this universe and how he started down his path of who he is.
Oh, that's released as a comic?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the website. We migrated from Tapas because the voice director that we have on the team was also a college grad website designer, and she offered, "Hey, I feel like making you guys a website." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, that's great. I'll have to check out that comic. I didn't see that one. I think Jesse might have reviewed it, but I don't always do everything with Jesse.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him cover that. The only thing I've seen him do lately was like a revisit on the 5 issues.
Yeah, since I've been down here in California, I haven't really been able to record with him much. But
Plus, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did you feel about the reception from the comics? Like, what is the feedback from the comics you've released so far?
It's mostly positive. Like, if you're looking at, let's say, the YouTube where we have the dubs on there, there's a lot of people who like it. There's some people who are asking, like the obvious questions because the issues aren't fully out yet. So there's questions that'll be answered later. I mean, yeah, some people feel like she's a Mary Sue character, but in reality, she's really not. We've even been downplaying her a lot. The only reason why people think she's stronger than Sonic is we're starting Sonic off not knowing all of his modern abilities, and it's things that he learns and grows into as he goes.
Yeah.
Because
So,
it's just a reboot starting from the very beginning. This is when he first left home on his adventures.
so what made you guys want to use Omelette as one of the villains? Was it because of the Sonic Mania hype that had just happened, or
Yeah, it was.
okay?
It really was. It wasn't just me who brought it up either. Some other people brought it in. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just go ask the person who made the design. I'm like, hey, some people on the team wanted to introduce her and include her. What do you think on that? He's like, yeah, go ahead, do it as long as there's permission given. So everything we've released, we throw over to him. We credit her in descriptions.
Well, that seems to be the thing with a lot of projects. A lot of them want to work Omelette in some way. I've seen so many. The Sonic 4 remake that has Omelette in it.
Oh, I
The
didn't even know that.
Yeah, someone's doing a Sonic 4 remake, but they're making it Genesis styled. That has Omelette as the villain. And they had Omelette appear for one issue of the Archie continuation.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I think that was what? Mobius Legends? They were considered non-canon, but kind of what-if situation.
Yeah.
I know that one.
And so a lot of people have been working in Omelette, so I wasn't shocked that you guys did. So many people at the same time all wanted to put Omelette in something.
Oh yeah, I thought it was something that was a character with a lot of fun potential. Like just all the different directions that you could take it. There's a lot of fun stuff we have planned that I'm not, quite ready to spoiler yet, but it's not going to be, none of the characters in Legacy are one dimensional. Like, we actually want to be able to explore the character personalities and how they would react in environments instead of as safe as Sega's been playing with their property for the past 10 years.
So, when you introduce the Freedom Fighters, are they going to be more like their original selves, or are they going to be more like their reboot selves? Because they were basically different characters in the reboot continuity.
They're probably going to be different from both because when you think about both continuities there, they grew up the way they did because of Eggman. Like in the pre-boot universe, you had basically Mobotropolis fell and they live guerrilla tactic warfare all their lives. Whereas in this, none of that ever happened. They're not freedom fighters. We still want to include the characters and figure ways that we could have them work with the world. It's just they would be very different from their other counterparts.
Okay, well then I guess if this is a spoiler, you don't have to answer it. But how will Bunny work into it? Because like when it came to the anti-universe, they had to work some way to get Bunny to have robotic parts. In the reboot continuity, they had to have Bunny get her robot parts back. How is Bunny going to get robot parts if robotization isn't a thing?
That'll kind of be subtly covered in the next couple of issues. That one's going to be around issue 8 when things hit the fan.
Okay, because I was wondering, because each continuity handles Eggman turning characters into robots differently. In IDW, he infected them with a liquid metal virus. In the British comic, in Fleetway, he literally just locked them inside of a robot. And in Sat AM, he had the roboticizer. So the way Eggman turns animals into robots is like defining for each continuity.
Well, since it's not really a spoiler, the issue already came out. That's kind of covered a little bit in ML1 with Eggman's backstory. What we did was we based his previous self based off what he said at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, how he looked up to his grandfather Gerald, wanted to be a great scientist and things like that. And that's how we started him off and everything, working on renewable energy, prosthetics, other things like that, and just, being one of the high ends of science in the scientific community. Sorry, my English is just all over the place today. I'm not
That's
sure
fine.
about this really. But we also tied in a little bit of an abandoned season 3 plotline with Nicole, because when I was wiki diving and everything, apparently how they were going to introduce where Nicole came from was she was a Mobian who died and got uploaded into basically a robotic frame.
I think that's what they went with in the Archie reboot continuity as well.
I thought it was actually a different character.
No, I was
I
pretty
don't
sure
really
that
have-
Nicole had like actual Link's family, and
Yeah, Dr. Elodie.
yeah, and that she was an actual Mobian, which
Hmm.
it completely contradicts the original Archie continuity. Because in the original continuity, she was created by Eggman in the future, and then Rotor reprogrammed her to be a good computer, and then sent her back to the past to help everyone
Yeah.
win. So
Yeah.
that completely contradicts that, unless Eggman like put her brain into a computer, but then she'd be from the future, not the past. But whatever.
Yeah, with ML1, basically she's a little kid who's suffering a terminal illness from NIDS. NIDS is actually going to be a bigger factor in Legacy also, like with several characters and plot points. But he decides, you know what? I inherited all this info from Gerald before, like not all the Project Shadow stuff, but the stuff he was originally working on. He's like, I think I could possibly finish it and cure her. So he's trying to research chaos energy and everything, but he can't get his hands on chaos emeralds because all the Gaia temples around the world are like sacred shrines and he doesn't have access. So he eventually builds like a little drone to break in, study the emerald, gather readings, things like that. Well, she's terminally ill, and the move to Mobotropolis taxed her too much. So basically, she's on her last legs. He's like, I need more time. And he's like, what if I make a robotic shell that could preserve her, but like keep her sentient at the same time? So he's on a trial with basically the equivalent of the United Nations, which is that Council of Mobius that was mentioned in issue 1.
Yeah.
Because the Guide Temple leader, which you'll find out is Lupe's father from the Archieverse,
Yeah.
he's saying that he broke in and stole the emerald, which he technically never did. And so when it started him just talking about how everything led up to that, they're hooked on the story. And they're like, so you managed to save her and everything. He's like, I'll do you one better. And in walks in this large bipedal suit that's kind of inspired by those hovercrafts in Sat AM, with her just tethered into it like one with the machine. And he starts talking about how basically as long as it's active, she's preserved and it's in its infancy and sentience. So far, all it could do is walk around, be aware of the surroundings. But he's like, future models could possibly be like normal suits that everyone could wear, and with it we could fight sickness, famine, basically later on inequality, conquer death. And just the council's mortified by him basically playing God. Basically gets rejected out of the room, stripped from the council and everything, its funding taken away, Nicole taken away, which kills her in the process because she wasn't able to live without it after that.
Yeah.
So basically, he's like, why won't they accept this and everything? I'm only trying to help better, like, society and everything. And then he realizes, kind of remnant readings and everything, and he's like, what if it's chaos energy? What if there's more emeralds? What if I could continue this line and I could just reboot the slate? I could make everything perfect. So his whole starting off gathering the emeralds is about an 11-year time frame where he's secretly building the Death Egg in space, gathering DNA samples of all classified organisms. Basically, his plan is to literally reboot the slate, kind of Titan AE, just wipe everything out and reboot it under his jurisdiction.
Oh. So he's trying to enact chaos control like he did in Archie.
Kind of, yeah, but it would like completely genocide all life.
Oh, okay. So it's more like Halo. Because in Archie, Eggman would try to rewrite reality by using Chaos Emeralds to enact chaos control. But in Halo, they had a device that would just wipe out all life. And they would try to reclone it and bring it back.
Yeah, kind of like that. See, I've only played Halo 1 and 2. I don't know anything about the bigger universe, but yeah, that kind of fits there.
Yeah. Just to help me understand what's going on.
But there's also a lot of unknown variables that Eggman couldn't factor in for also, which will be here within this arc. Like, we all know about Supersonics going to come up and everything. Well, that's an anomaly that no one really knew about.
Okay, so what if you could? What are some things you want to do in the future? You can say it vaguely, but what are some goals you want to accomplish with the comic?
Well, the main goal is just kind of retelling all the games together as if it's just one unified universe instead of the whole back forth and everything that it's been doing. Because no one has any real consistency, and they just keep saying, "Well, Azuka said two worlds," even though all of the classic material was one world. So it's just like, I don't know.
The
I
funny
don't think
thing is,
Azuka was a good public manager.
I actually, I thanks to Ken Penders, and I don't like Ken Penders, but thanks to him, I found material dating all the way back to the 90s that references the two worlds idea, but it references it in the most balls to the wall, insane way. And I hope you're ready for this, because this is fucking wacky.
I'm
But
listening.
he had the original pitch for SAT-AM, the original Bible for SAT-AM. And in the original Bible for SAT-AM, Sonic is on Earth, California to be exact. And he's telling his grandkids or kids about the stories of SAT-AM. And that's the premise of the original story, is that Sonic is an old man on Earth. And he's telling the kids about the far-off planet of Mobius.
Yeah, that is pretty whack.
So it's weird that dating all the way back to the early 90s, someone was thinking of the two worlds concept. But from every Sega document I've read, they didn't think of two worlds. It was just one world.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like in any Sega official material, I haven't seen anything to really back that up. Like from Sonic 1 all the way up to 06, it's always been one unified world. That's been continuing a trend of the story.
Well, the Holy Grail would be the Sonic X Bible, because with Sonic X originally it was going to take place on the animal world. It was going to have animal people. But then Sega stepped in and reminded them that they have to adapt the games. So there had to be humans. So like the story had to fit more in line with the games. So that's when they changed everything. So that means that Sega gave them some type of document that told them what is canon in the games. So if that ever got leaked, that would be really fucking useful. But none of the current Sega Bibles have been leaked. We have vague info from them, supposedly, but we don't have any actual leaked documents. Like, one of the things that got leaked from the documents is that Sonic travels between worlds on a rainbow bridge. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Thor.
Been seen anywhere.
I know. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Thor, how he has the fucking Bifrost Bridge or what. But that's what was said, supposedly, in these Sega documents.
The only thing that remotely backs that up is the level transition in Sonic Advance 3.
Yeah. And the Sonic Colors.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, well, that was literally just interplanetary, not like interdimensional, whereas Advance 3 was interdimensional.
Yeah, they've shown a rainbow bridge a couple times in Sonic, so I don't know if that's canon or not. I don't know what is canon with Sonic. All I know is that
everything and nothing.
Some stuff got leaked from the documents a while back, and that was one of them, is that Sonic can travel with a rainbow bridge, and that Sonic is from another world. They've never said another dimension, so I'm able to believe the Sonic movie premise of Mobius, or whatever Sonic's planet is called, is just another planet in the universe.
Yeah, like you said, it would be really beneficial if any of that information could have been released. In the meantime, I'm just going with what I have visually been able to see in the games. Actual hard material.
Ian Flynn's writing a character. He's writing an encyclopedia for Sonic that should be releasing this year. I don't know if they gave him actual information or if he's just going to have to use the sources that are public, but hopefully we get some answers.
Yeah, I'm really curious to read that when it comes out.
That's what makes Sonic world building hard, though, is because we have to use the resources that have been given to us. because Sega has kept so much shit private about Sonic.
And that's why it's so radically different in everything that you read or any official continuities like Sonic the Comics, SatAM, Archie, IDW, the games. It's all different universes.
Well, yeah, because Sega allowed America to make a completely different canon story for Sonic. And
No, it's a true Sonic.
I make fun of Japan's story a lot. I've mentioned it to people. Japan released a promo comic depicting
Yep.
the canon story to Sonic the Hedgehog. And in that story, Eggman's one goal was to steal the Chaos Emerald to boil a giant egg. That was his big motivation. That was his big goal. So,
I knew about the Sonic manga that had like its own family for Sonic, the whole Nikki Palooza thing.
well, that was never meant to be canon. The Sonic story, it's called the Sonic Story comic manga or something like that. It has a really stupid name because Japanese, but it's full color. It has Sonic being a rock star in it. It has a lot of the stuff that was supposed to be canon to Sonic, and it retells all of Sonic 1 in like 3 mini issues. And in that retelling of Sonic 1, Eggman's one big goal is to steal the emeralds to cook an egg. That's his goal.
Sounds pretty Japan to me.
Yeah, it's a really weird story, and the only reason why Sonic hates Eggman is Eggman ruined his concert. And then they fight forever because of that.
I don't know, that's kind of funny in retrospect, though.
Yeah, that's what Japan wanted. And then when America got its own continuity granted, that's when they came up with the whole Kintobor stuff. But then they didn't even use the Kintobor stuff. No one used the Kintobor stuff. Only fucking England did.
Yeah, I was about to say.
None of the American licensors bothered to even touch it at all. And there was like so many different continuities. Like, Adventures of didn't mention Kintobor. Fucking
No.
SatAM didn't mention Kintobor, and neither did Archie.
Yeah. Archie did.
Archie did, but that was, like, after Ian Flynn, and that's what they called Anti-Robotnik afterwards, I
You
think,
sure about
maybe.
that?
I don't know. If they mentioned...
Because it was supposed to be of the House of Kintobor and everything. Like,
Oh, yeah, they did use the name. Yeah, they used the name Kintobor.
yeah, like all his relatives that were like overlanders that he basically turned into metal statues because overlanders don't roboticize. Yeah, they were Kintobors also, weren't they?
Yes, I actually do remember that. I think they were Kintobors, and then he changed his name. If I'm remembering right. I could be wrong.
I think so.
But I know his family is deeply important to the Archie universe, because his family is the whole reason why the Mobians exist to begin with.
Yeah, because of the whole Zorda visitation back when it was still Earth. Hey, let's dissect this alien. Pissed them off and just got gene bombed.
Yeah, Archie continuity is convoluted, but it's still something. At least it's a concrete fucking explanation of why there's...
It's out there, but it bothered to explain itself.
The only, like... It's so confusing, because I have to explain to people that there are 3 different animal species. There are regular animals that are just normal, non-walking, talking animals. There are Sonic and Friends, who are anthro animals. And then there's the fucking animal buddies or animal friends, like Flickies, Peckies, Pockies. They're magical creatures from another world. So it's weird.
That's something that we were going to eventually get to in Legacy too, is that there's the different type of animals, like your normal animals and stuff. And it all just has to do with how chaos energy affected evolution.
Yeah, because with, and this is canon if Sonic 3D Blast is canon, Flickies can travel between dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So, Flickies are definitely magical in some way, and they're drawn to Chaos Emeralds, so... It's weird that Sega has all this shit and they're not using it.
Yeah, there is a massive world already built for Legacy and like all of the different machinations. It's just, it's going to take so long to actually be able to breadcrumb through the issues because it's one of those things that you want to show, not tell. You don't want to have any kind of exposition dump on all of it.
Oh, yeah, I get that. So, is there anything else you want to talk about the comic or the characters? Like any experiences you want to talk about?
Uh, I've been people. Wow, that was butchered English. I've been seeing people wonder when Tempest is going to show up next, and I keep telling them it's going to be a while. Like, she'll be a recurring character, but it's like she's not always going to have screen time.
Oh yeah, I can get that because she was just meant for Sonic 1.
Like, it's not really a spoiler. The next time I believe she's going to show up is going to be Fighters, but then after that, no clue. Like, I haven't future planned her stuff after that yet.
Oh
Man.
yeah, I
Fighters
was
is going to be a fun arc
I
because it's going to
was
be the last of the classic ones.
I was wondering if you knew that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog was a prequel to Sonic 1 or
Yeah, the one with Mighty and Ray.
yeah, so are they already in continuity or are they not going to be in continuity with your
They're in,
comic?
they're in continuity, but we don't have a fully clear definition of how we want them started off yet.
Okay, because they take place before Sonic 1, so it's very confusing.
Yeah, like I know Sonic CD is supposed to technically take place between Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, but for consistency and storytelling for ours, it's going to be after Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, I always figured, and I was proven wrong plenty of times, but when I was a kid, I always figured that Sonic CD took place after 3 because Eggman didn't use any of the other metal robots. He only continued to use Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I'm willing to accept Metal Sonic was made for speed, Mecha Sonic was made for strength. They each
Hmm.
have things that the other lacks. So I can
Yeah,
accept that they're evolutions of each other.
that's actually what we wanted to do in Legacy with them also, is that all the different mechas, like I had to look up the concept art documents because the Metal Sonic that you fight in Sonic 2 on the Death Egg is also called Mecha Sonic. Like, fans dubbed it Silver Sonic because there wasn't an actual name at
Sega
the time
gave him
for
a
it.
name now. It's Robo Sonic.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
a
going to stick
stupid
with the
name.
original concept docs of Mecha Sonic, and we just call him Mark 1, and then the Sonic and Knuckles one is Mark 2.
The name Mecha Sonic is just thrown around everywhere, and so many different characters are called Mecha Sonic. It's just confusing.
Archie also had the roboticized Sonic called Mecha Sonic.
They had Metal Sonic called Mecha Sonic too at one point.
Yeah, that was for the 25th issue one because we recently recorded that on our channel. Yeah, they called Metal Sonic Mecha there as well.
Yeah, they just couldn't keep up with shit. But anyway, we've reached our 30-minute timer. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
I've got nothing on there. I didn't think you had any other questions because you would have brought them up. So, no, I'm good.
Okay, well, I enjoyed this. If you guys want to read Sonic Legacy, it's going to be in the description below. It was fun having you on, Celeste, and hopefully the comic continues to grow in the future.
Yeah, and it was nice having you on here. If you want me back in, just give me a holler.
Okay, if you guys like this, like it. If you want to see more, then subscribe. Bye, guys.